Have you recently lost on an offer in maybe a multiple offer situation? If not, you're probably not submitting enough offers, or maybe you're not even submitting offers in today's market. So that's what we're going to talk about, guys. How to get your offer accepted in today's crazy market. Let's go. I would say when you submit an offer, really there's before submitting the offer, during submitting the offer, and what do you do after you actually submit the offer, okay? Let's get to it. So before submitting an offer, guys, it really starts with educating the buyer right from the get-go, right? So when you meet with a buyer, preferably face-to-face, if not face-to-face, at least over Zoom, right? Where you're gonna go over the buying process, you're gonna go over the finances, and most importantly, you're gonna list up certain steps, what the buyer is gonna have to take, and which steps you're gonna take with them, right? So they understand what's going on, they feel comfortable, and the resistance is really not there. Because why buyers they're resistant most of the time to really take the next step? Because they don't know, right? It's the fear of the unknown. So if you educate them, if you let them know what exactly is going to happen and what are the strategies you guys going to apply to really make that happen, you're going to alleviate the stress, the tension, the resistance, and the transaction is going to be just a lot smoother. It's going to be quicker. It's going to be a lot more enjoyable for you and the buyer, okay? So number one, you got to educate the buyer. Very important before taking them out, okay? Number two, you got to build rapport with the listing agent, okay? You got to make sure that that listing agent, it's part of your team now when you're presenting the offer, right? Because most likely the listing agent has a good grip over the seller, has a relationship with the seller, and it really matters to the seller what the listing agent thinks, right? So you got to build rapport with them. And building rapport with the listing agent, it starts with when you're going to schedule the appointment. You got to show that you are a professional. You got to act professional, right? When you're showing the place, don't just show the place and try to put a listing agent to the side because you are insecure about your buyers. No, you really got to make them feel good. And if you're going to make them feel good, what's going to happen? Now they're going to feel good about you and about the buyer. While you're walking through the property, compliment them, right? Give them maybe some tips, right? Maybe mention something, regarding the property, how they're marketing it, what you actually appreciate. Make them feel good. At the same time, while you're walking through the property, and if it's owner's occupied property, now here's your opportunity to really build a rapport with a seller. Very important. You really got to make sure that the listing agent remembers you, that you stand out from the crowd. And the same thing for the seller. You really got to make sure that they know your name, right? So when it comes to the point when you're actually submitting and presenting the offer, they already know you, okay? So build rapport with the listing agent and build rapport with the seller as well. You really have to pre-sell yourself and the buyer, okay? And this stuff, it doesn't come easy. It doesn't come naturally. Yet it is the biggest difference maker in order to win the offer. Okay, so you build a rapport with the seller and the listing agent, right? Now it's time for you to actually get the offer going, okay? So I really say there is really 3 steps before you're gonna write up the offer. Very important. And you know what? You don't wanna wing this because it probably took you a long time to get to this point. So you really have to make sure that you spend more time to almost perfect it, okay? So step number 1, reach out to the listing agent and let him know, hey, listen, George, it seems like the buyer might be interested. What's important to the seller about the buyer? Who do they want to sell the home to? What it would be a good number? How much are they looking for, right? Because if you don't ask, you don't know. And there's nothing wrong with asking, right? They don't necessarily have to tell you exactly how much the seller is looking for. But keep in mind, like I said previously, if you build a great rapport with the listing agent, they most likely will, okay? So you definitely want to reach out. You want to know what is important to the seller, maybe in terms of terms, right? Because it's not always just the price. It might be the time frame, right? They might want to close 3 months from now. Maybe they have to find a place first. Maybe they want to stay at the property after the closing, right? So really see what's important to the seller in terms of conditions, timeline, right? Who do they want to sell the home to? Because if I will be selling my home where I live for the past 15, 20 years, I really want to make sure that I feel comfortable with a family, right? So when I'm selling, I'm sort of passing along the torch, right? I want to make sure the torch I pass to, the new family who's going to be taking care of my place is a family I like. So you really got to be likable, and you got to make sure that the buyer is liked by the seller and the agent as well, okay? So reach out to the agent, make sure you get to know the seller, right? What's important to him in terms of terms, price, whatever. Step number 2, you got to create a CMA, guys. Really important, okay? Because keep in mind, negotiation in this sense is not just on the side you negotiating with the seller, okay? You negotiating with the buyer as well. So you really got to make sure that number 1, you educate everybody, because education is the key. Knowledge is power. The more knowledge the buyer has, right, the better decision they can make. For us, it might be easy because this is what we do all day, every day, right? We might look at a place and say, this place is worth $550, because places like that, that's what they're selling for. But you've been doing it for years. For the buyers, they're buying their first home maybe. They have no idea how the pricing works. So do the CMA, right? Look at what's available, what else is there for the buyer. So in case if he won't be able to buy this place, what else can he buy? And really show him, hey, this is what's available for you. These are the options, right? This is where we should be at. You got to look at the under contract. Under contract, they maybe signed the contracts 30 days ago. Now they're on the way to close. So that's pretty much a market value, right? And you also got to look at the sold, right? However, with the sold, keep in mind, that might be an old value, okay? They might be 6, 9 months old value. Why is that? Because if they closed 3 months ago, 6 months ago, that means they probably went under contract 3 months prior. That's 9 to 12 months old value, right? And if the market is going up, like in today's crazy market, right, the prices they're appreciating 10, 15%, maybe even more in some neighborhoods every single year, that's almost 15, 20% below what's the market value today, right? So really, look at the sold, look at the under contract, look what's available, right? And get the number right. Now, once you have the number from the CMA and you get the number from the seller and from the listing agent, now you got something to work with. Okay, so let's just say if the listing agent tells you, hey, listen, we're asking $550, we get some offers, they give some counter offers, right? We're looking for $525. And if the CMA came in at $525 to $540, guess how much you're submitting? Submitting $515 or $510. In order to really get that house, you got to go to $525 straight up and take it off the market. And really make sure that you do your job for the buyer. Because keep in mind, guys, your job as an agent, it's not to save $5,000, $10,000 to the buyer. Those are pennies long term, right? Your job is to make sure that you get that home off the market for the buyer, all right? So don't try to be a hero, because that doesn't work. Just do your job, do the due diligence, talk to the listing agent, spend the time on really crafting the CMA, and sit down with the buyer to really educate them and come up with the right number, okay? So preparation is the key, guys. Now you got the offer, right? So you get the CMA, you get the numbers, you're ready. Now you're going to be submitting it as a package, okay? And when I say as a package, it's not just a verbal offer. Hey, the buyer will submit $525. How exciting is that? You got to stack up the cool. When I say step up the cool, what I mean by that, you got to make the offer as strong as possible. And when I say as strong as possible, you got to give the most to the seller and to the listing agent, right? So besides the offer being in writing, of course, with the pre-approval, now what you want to do, you want to get the exact number on the pre-approval. Very important, guys. Again, you got to take the time. You got to reach out to the banker, right? You got to make sure that if it's $525, we're not submitting $450, hello, and we're not submitting $550 or $600 either. Why? Because if you're going to show all the cards on the table, right, it's like playing a poker, and everybody knows your cards. Are you going to win? Of course not, right? So the number needs to be exact. If it's $525 with 10,000 taxes per year, guess what the pre-approval is going to say? It's $525 with 10,000 in taxes. Okay, very important. Number 2, you want to show the income on tax returns. Yes. Oh, John, but that's too private. That's too intimate. The seller is willing to show you their home. Can you get even more intimate than that? Of course not. Okay, and again, if you educate the buyer from the get-go, right? If you let them know, hey, listen, this is what you have to do in order to get the right house at the right price. Are they going to do it? Of course they're going to do it. So give the tax returns. You can write out the social, just the first page, which shows the income. Very important. You got to show the credit. You got to show the credit, yes. You got to show the scores, you got to show the lines. Okay, full credit report. You got to submit with the offer as well. Bank statements. Okay, you have to show them that the money's in the bank, the money be in the bank for the down payment, the closing cost. What that means, the money doesn't have to come overseas, right? The money doesn't have to be seized in the account. Everything is ready to go. Number 4, have the home inspector lined up. Very important, guys. You know, in today's market, there's a shortage of appraisals and home inspectors. Ahead of time, call your home inspector and say, hey, listen, we're probably going to be getting this deal in Jamaica. It's 2 family. We're going to need to do the home inspection right away. When are you available? You're available on Thursday? Perfect, right? So when you present the offer now, you can tell the seller, hey, listen, by the way, I already spoke with my home inspector. He's available on Wednesday, which is tomorrow at 9 a.m. Let's schedule it. Okay? So now you got your package ready. Also, what you want to make part of your package are love letters. Now, I know code of ethics, you know, every state is a little different, so I encourage you, please check with your board what you could do, what you couldn't do. But love letters are really important, or maybe love videos. They are great because on the offer is not just the number, right? There's actually a name. There's actually family looking to purchase that place. And the seller's got to know the family, okay? Now, another piece of paper, which is essential, guys, it is the offer acknowledgement form. When you're submitting all these docs to the listing agent, you got to make sure that you make it official. And what I mean by that, you have to make sure that your offer will get presented on time. Very important. And you know what? And I know most of the time you probably feel like you don't want the agent to sort of resent you for doing it, but that's a wrong feeling. Because if you send the offer acknowledgement, what's going to make the agent think that you know what you're doing, you know the process, right? You're taking this seriously, and you are a true professional. So always, 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 please submit the offer acknowledgement form. If you don't, and the listing agent doesn't present the offer, well, now it's on you. You just didn't do your job. Okay, so always get that submitted. So let me recap. What's part of the package is the offer in writing, is the exact pre-approval, income taxes, first page, delete the social, bank statements showing all the funds. If there's multiple bank statements, you got to show multiple bank statements. Just write out the account number. Full credit report again, write out the social, right? Love letter or a love video, important, and an offer acknowledgement form. Okay, now it's time for you to present the offer. And here's the biggest one, guys. When I say it's time for you to present the offer, I mean it. It's not time for you just to email it out and pray to the real estate guy and say, oh, I hope he liked me and he's going to present the offer. That's not his job. Okay, he doesn't work with the buyers. He doesn't work with the family. You work with the family. If you're not going to present the offer in person, you're probably doing disservice to your clients. So always try to present the offer in person or over the Zoom or over the phone, but you have to make sure that you present the offer yourself to the seller, unless it's stated otherwise. And you should know that from your MLS. It tells you right on the bottom, offers can be present or offers cannot be present. Okay. Now, if you cannot present the offer yourself and the offer has to go through the listing agent, don't just email it, right? Now you have to present the offer to the listing agent, okay? And when I say present the offer, it's more of present the family to the listing agent or to the seller, right? So when you're presenting it, don't just go and say, hey, Jack, I got an offer for you. It's $550 with 20% down. What do you think? What do you think they're going to tell you? Oh, okay, sounds good. I'll get back to you. No. You got to build it up. Hey, Jack, this is John. You know, first I wanted to thank you. I really appreciate your cooperation. Thank you so much. Well, let me tell you something about the family. I've been working with them for a while. They're a great family, okay? They got 2 kids. They live in the neighborhood. This is what the guy's doing for a living. This is what the wife is doing for a living. This is how they've been on the job, okay? This is what's important to them about the home. This is what they like, actually, about your place, right? This is what their plans. So you see what I'm doing? I'm really selling the family. I'm not selling that number. That number itself, it comes all the way at the end. Because if you don't sell the family to the seller and to the listing agent, the number won't even matter. So you really got to make sure that you pre-sell the family first, right? You pre-sell the qualifications. Really the secret, guys. If you can have the banker on the call with you present the offer, even better. If he doesn't have a time to be on the call at that time, have the banker call the listing agent later. That's huge, guys. Because if the listing agent and the seller is going to hear it from the banker, from the guy who's actually going to be giving them the money, do you think it's going to make them feel comfortable? You bet it will. It's going to make them super comfortable. And I tell you a little secret, almost no one does it. I've done this for almost 20 years now. And I can probably count on one of my hand when the banker actually called me to tell me a little bit about the buyer and to help me understand the situation a little better. So this is huge, guys, okay? So have the banker call the buyer, or the seller and the listing agent, all right? Now, when you presented the offer, guys, don't just end it with, okay, that's great. Okay, you'll get back to me. Awesome, I'm looking forward to hear from you now. Well, Mr. Seller, you really got three options here. You can either reject the offer, you can accept it, which I think we all would like that, right? Or you can give us a counter offer. You want to make sure that you close down the deal right in there. Okay, so if it's a counter offer, okay, how much is the counter offer? I know you're looking for, you send me $525, okay, the counter is $540. Give me just 1 second. Don't hang up. Wait on the phone. Let me call the buyers right now. Let me speak to them. Let me try to bring them up. And you close the sale, you close the deal right there when you actually present the offer. The next step is you just do the inspection, get the contract scored. Okay, very important. Okay, now in case if you don't get an answer for whatever reason, for me personally it rarely happens, but if you do, for whatever reason, you want to stay on top of mind. I think it's kind of crazy, you know, where agents do some in offers and they never follow up. All the money's in the follow-up, right? When it comes to our clients, what do you think about the offers? Do you think all the money's in the follow-ups? It's crazy. Agents submit offers, you never hear from them. They don't go back even say, hey, did your offer get accepted? You know, was it counter offer? What it would take to make it happen? What is the seller really looking for? What is the time frame? When the seller wants to go to contracts? When they want to be out of the house? You got to call the listing agent, guys. And don't think that you've been annoying. No. You've been on top of mind, even though it could be maybe a little annoying to a listing agent. But you're going to be the guy who's constantly going to be on his mind. And guys, that's the guy usually who's going to get the offer. So, don't wing this. It is really important, guys. It takes a long time and a lot of effort to get to this point. So, make it right. You really own it to the family. It's not just about you. No. It's about them. It's about the buyer. It's about the seller. It's about the whole community. So, make it happen. If you do find this helpful, hit the subscribe button, comment, share, like, give us some love, and I will catch you on the next one. Let's go.